So I think that job creation is the only way forward for Nigeria. Like most things in Nigeria, despite the glaring gaps, there isn't enough data to speak authoritatively. Be that as it may, unemployment and underemployment are clearly huge gaps for the country. Officially, the unemployment rate is about 6%. This is clearly an underestimate, especially considering that an estimated 92% of Nigerians work in the informal sector with unstable jobs. The government has no choice but to create millions of jobs annually to get the country out of the current economic quagmire. And I'm not talking about civil service jobs. We already have a bloated and inefficient civil service. However, the government must prioritize and be directly involved in transparent job creation to unlock Nigeria's potential. The country has too much human and mineral resources to be in this current state. Enough of the blanket statements. Government needs to create an enabling environment for job creation. Perhaps the government needs us to break down what this means. And today I will use the agri sector alone to say this means making modern farming techniques available at scale, public-private partnerships to develop agro-industrial complexes to ensure that agricultural products can be produced and sold at competitive prices, stored appropriately, and strengthen the entire agricultural value chain. Prioritization of rural infrastructure, transparent and sustainable access to credit and other financial services. For too long, many administrations have paid lip service to agriculture. Both federal and state governments need to go into public-private partnerships to develop agro-industrial complexes. All states in Nigeria have the capacity to do this. It is a low-hanging fruit, and it will create ripple effects in the economy, providing jobs to both skilled and unskilled members of the workforce. Nigeria can create millions of jobs and ensure food security if adequate attention is given to agriculture. Enough of billions being spent on projects with little value addition as far as job creation is concerned. Government needs to ensure that only projects that create jobs are prioritized. Other things, including security, will be sorted through these obviously simple measures. Agriculture is a science. Subsistence farming is but a tiny fragment. Nigeria must move beyond this.
There was a time Nigeria's GDP, agriculture contributed most to Nigeria's GDP. There was a time. It was followed by oil. It was even more than oil and gas.
Yes, at some point.
But today, the biggest contributor to Nigeria's GDP is services at 52%. Even industries has caught up with agriculture at 24%. So in reality, the contribution of agriculture to Nigeria's GDP is reducing. And it's not like that's in isolation. When you look at it with other countries as well, in Africa, for instance, Nigeria has one of the highest percentage, aside from Ethiopia, in terms of agriculture's contribution to GDP. In most countries all over the world, the contribution of agriculture is reducing. And there's a reason why. Because the emphasis is beginning to go towards mechanized agriculture.
Automation.
All right, automation. And also beginning to look more at services, innovation, tech. And we have to tell ourselves the truth, okay? If any government thinks that the solution to unemployment is get people to the farm, you are years behind. Because the reality is that today, nobody farms like that. The biggest farms we have are all mechanized. And the moment you go mechanized, you need less people. That's the reality. And so we must look at how are we upskilling children, people of the future. We upskill them through tech, through services, through those things. And if really that is the productivity of the future, for me, I want to put more into research. I want to put more into education. I want to put more into things where young people can engage themselves in things that will ultimately lead them to create jobs to be able to then reduce the unemployment rate. So for me, that's where the data is. And we're not just looking at Nigeria in isolation. We're looking at Nigeria in comparison with other countries in Africa and also out of Africa.
Okay, I disagree with you on the fact that the government needs to create millions of jobs annually. the government does not need to create millions of jobs, but rather they need to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive so that more jobs can be created. There is no country in the world.
Potatoes.
No. There is
really.
a difference. There is no country in the world where the government is the highest creator of jobs. It is just not sustainable. So I am going to move away from, when we talk about the issues of unemployment in Nigeria, for someone who has an insight into the recruitment space, it's beyond unemployment. We have a huge unemployability issue.
That's right.
Like, you have so many roles open, you can't even find people to fill those roles. The quality of education needs to improve. The issue is not just unemployment. Young people need to take responsibility for their learning. Again, the issues are plenty.
So if you make the local government level or the local government's governance at the local level the hub for everything, this job creation will be better. We're talking of mechanized farming when other countries are even deploying AI to their farms. They now have robots working on the farms, but we're still grappling. That's the truth, that we're grappling with mechanized farming. Now, for us, since you've narrowed it down to agriculture, we're looking at accessibility of modern farming equipment. How easily accessible, how easily can I say, okay, I want to get into farming. I go to the local government and say, please, I need tractors, I need this. How easy is that for me? That's number one. Prioritization of rural infrastructure. Until we prioritize that in Nigeria, we're joking. Thirdly, access to credit and other financial services. So we come back to Yinka and this need to have credit facilities for people who want to create jobs. The truth is, governments can create all the jobs that we want and that we need. That is why we hear public-private partnerships. That is why, according to your advocacy, you said 92% in the informal sector. If I become a farmer now, it's still informal, right? So it is that the government should create an enabling environment starting from the local government level.
By the time we get to that point where these jobs are being enabled, you quite rightly pointed out the onset of AI is upon us. It does actually impact jobs, especially in areas like manufacturing, jobs that require repetitive work, that kind of thing, right? It could potentially come back and bite us if we are not working public and private together. So I agree with you. I agree with you, sir. And partly agree with you.
Thank you for agreeing.
So we say we move, but where exactly are we moving to?
Forward.
A journey without a roadmap is a journey nowhere, as we cannot take systems from other countries to replicate in our own system. In our system, we need to grow before we start worrying about AI taking over agriculture.
Andy, let me chart the course for you, okay? It begins with building resilience in you and I. We are the human capital. We're the important part.